The role of an engineer is changing now with the advent of AI. I think we're moving more from focusing on the little things to engineering complete systems. It's doubled our output and improved our quality. We are still a very small team, so by being able to use a tool like Claude to really empower us to build more quicker.
What excites you most about modern engineering right now?
It's going so quickly with agentic AI and software engineering in general. It's changing so rapidly, and we're in a really exciting time to see what products people build with this new kind of capability. I feel like we have the power now to really experiment with that a lot faster and push things to prod regularly and know that it's going to be fine.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdurrahman Sanimi. I'm your host and welcome back to another episode of Tech Funds Tech. Today we have a very wonderful guest with us, which is Alex. Alex is a CTO of Synapse. Hi Alex, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So Alex, before we start, I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi everyone. Yeah, like you said, I'm the CTO of Synapse. Previously the VP of engineering. I've only recently moved into the CTO role. But yeah, Synapse is a great company. We are focused on using AI for accessibility, for the deaf, for people who are deaf, and whether that's in the media and entertainment industry or transportation or websites, we have a product that makes them more accessible, which is great. How I ended up at Synapse is amazing, and it's a company that I'm really passionate about. For me, I have about 13 years of industry experience over various different roles. Um, Starting as an apprentice, moving into software engineering, DevOps, tech leadership, and now where I am today. So it's been fun. I've enjoyed kind of doing lots of different things and not kind of sticking with one kind of linear career path in software.
Nice to know all that stuff, Alex. So, Alex, before we dive more into the technical questions and the other stuff, I would like to know that you have been engineer for like 13 years and you have a very vast industry experience. So, did you choose engineering because you love to do engineering, or is there any kind of story associated with it? How did you end up in the engineering side?
Um, Funnily, I actually really didn't want to get into software engineering when I was younger. It was one of those, I never enjoyed IT at school. I always found it a bit boring. I wanted to do something that really pushed me. But I ended up doing a BTEC A-level equivalent in computer game development. And that's when I really got into software engineering and did lots of different things. And I learned very quickly it's hard to make it in the games industry unless you want to spend making tea for 10 years, which wasn't my cup of tea. Um, so I moved into I got an apprenticeship with an agency, a government agency called VOSA at the time. They're now called DVSA, the Driving Vehicle Standards Agency. I I stayed there for 6 years, although my apprenticeship was only two. Um, but it was such a great opportunity because I was part of the first cohort of apprentices at VOSA, and I got to do lots of different things. It wasn't like I was hired as an apprentice application developer, but I didn't just do application development. I spent um, a couple of weeks installing roadside traffic enforcement cameras, and I spent a couple of weeks installing Wi-Fi into cars, and then I spent some time as a business analyst, and I spent some time learning about SWOT and Scrum and Agile and all of that stuff. And I spent some time as a developer, and there was one time where um, a pigeon had flown into the building and broken the air conditioning, and the servers had died. And I spent a month as a sysops engineer because they just needed somebody who had like terminal access to help out. And I didn't know Linux at the time. I got an opportunity to learn Linux. That's what really drove me into the DevOpsy space. So it was great. I got to do lots and lots of different things. ultimately I settled on software engineering, at least initially, and then from that there was an opening in the DevOps space. DevOps to me was it was such a new thing. Like the Department for Transport just adopted the cloud. We were doing this big migration from old on-prem systems hosted in Oracle, and it was a massive migration. I had the opportunity to basically take that and lift and shift that to the cloud. So that's why I hopped into the DevOps space there, um, which is kind of like in my mind was both software engineering and infrastructure, which is great. And I love the DevOps movement and everything that it stands for. Um, and yeah, and then I took that. I thought maybe it's time to go on leave public sector and see what the private sector's like. And I went to work for a fintech for um, a number of years, which again, a whole different problem. Uh, it was your typical startup, had a really good startup culture. That's where I fell in love with startups, I would say. And I was lucky to get my first taste of leadership there. I
Hmm.
was given the head of technology operations role, which was ultimately kind of responsible for infrastructure and DevOps, and then head of engineering role. And that is a whole different chapter of my career. And each stage has been very, very different as I've kind of moved along.
That sounds really amazing. You have got quite a journey. So, adding to that, like as a CTO at Synapse, what are the biggest technical and organizational challenges you are focused on right now?
Um, so Synapse, we're still really young. We've only been going for about 2, 3 years. Um, we have a product that allows you to basically translate any live stream. So this call, for instance, any live event in real time uh, to sign language. And there are so many technical challenges with that we're facing at the moment. So latency being one of them, translation quality, trying to make the sign language as real, as close to British and American Sign Language as possible. And expansion. We're launching in different countries this year. We're dealing with different kind of regulations, different media markets, different customers. We've been very fortunate to start working with some really big media houses who have different standards than what we've kind of previously faced. And as a company, um, and the best part of being a startup is kind of making that leap from we're a startup, we can make mistakes too. Now we need to start professionalizing a little bit and improving our quality and putting in some standards and grow. And that's a really exciting place to be. There's a real buzz about it at Synapse at the moment on kind of how we take this product, which we think is one of a kind and unique, and really take that to the global market. And how do you scale that? Because it works so well in the UK. Will it work in different markets? One fun kind of nuance around sign language is every language is different. There is no
Yeah.
real standard. So doing British Sign Language to American Sign Language is completely different. It's a whole different journey that we've had to learn. And how do we train the AI models? How do we build a relationship with the deaf community in the US? Bear in mind we're a UK company. All these kind of problems that we're having to solve.
Okay, and as you have seen that if we see the world post 2021 after the invention of GPT,
Mm.
the we have seen a pattern that where the software engineering is changing at a rapid pace. So as a CTO of a big tech company that is operating in a product market, how do you see that AI helping with you in your tech with this all these technical problems that you guys are facing right now?
Oh, it's low. It's been revolutionary for us. We use Claude Code a lot, like I'm sure a lot of people do.
Yeah.
We use Claude a lot in general. At least from a product and engineering point of view, it's doubled our output and improved our quality. We are still a very small team, so by being able to use a tool like Claude to really empower us to build more, quicker, better quality is great. We also use Claude extensively on the product side as well. So We give it customer feedback data, and it has we use Linear as a ticketing system, and it has access to that, and we build out these backlogs with Claude. Claude is able to build like 60 tickets in an hour, which would take a product manager a day easily to do. Um,
Mm,
and you can take it further. We, in the past, for technical tickets, we feed it plans from Claude code into just the normal Claude model, hooked up to Linear, and say, build us some projects that allow us to work off this plan. And then it gives us a solid first draft, and then we iterate on it through the product development process, and improve on it and link it in with our wider roadmap. It it's really changed how we do things. I think it's the only way really for a company of our size to compete in the markets where we are as well. Is by embracing new technologies like AI. And second to that, our product itself uses large language models all the time. That's
mm.
how we turn English into sign language grammar. We have our own models that we build, and we use public available models as well. So AI is really at the core of everything that we do at the moment.
That sounds really amazing. So many companies invest in cloud and DevOps infrastructure, but still struggle with reliability. Where do you see teams going wrong most often?
Um, The one thing that I've always see pop up is we use infrastructure as code, but we still make manual changes, or configuration drift, and not having things go through a standard pipeline. That's one I see a lot. Is a problem that we had recently at Synapse as well. It's easily done. There's a bug in production. You need to fix it. You make a change. You don't backfill that into Terraform or whatever language you're using, and then that stays as it is, and then you drift, and eventually after so much time you've drifted so far you have no idea what exists and what doesn't exist. That inevitably hampers reliability, because we should get to a point where we have your code is documenting what your infrastructure is like. You should be able to tear down that production environment, spin it back up again, no issues, and it works every time. But because we've all made these little changes throughout the course of a year, 2 years, it's no longer accurate. Your code is no longer the single source of truth. It's no longer able to tear it down and spin it back up again. And you also run the risk of, if you get to the point where you're enforcing a Terraform code has to be the source of truth, you are inevitably going to break things, because you'll find that, I changed that Lambda config to have a 15-minute timeout instead of 30-second timeout, and now it's not working. Why is that? Oh, because Terraform says it's 30 seconds and I've changed it to 15 minutes. It's that I see it time and time again at companies I go to.
So is it like lack of proper synchronization between teams or the use of standard processes?
Um, I think humans like to make shortcuts. um, Someone doesn't necessarily want to sit and wait for a pipeline to run. I think it can be you can build processes around it. I think the most extreme version of that is basically blocking all production access to people. Um,
Mm,
I think there's an element of, there could be an element in larger companies of handing over teams. I've worked places where you've had a dedicated infrastructure team and a dedicated development team, and you have to hand features over, which is kind of anti DevOps. Um, but yeah, I think mostly it's people trying to rush in the moment, get a fix out, make a quick change, and then, because software engineering now, and it kind of has always been, is such a high pressure environment, you naturally will forget to go back and change that.
mm, mm,
So one way that we do it at Synapse is we build infrastructure as code is built into all of our automation from the get go, and we have lots of policies to protect us around that. And so much so you can't push to production without Terraform being in place and running and planning. The pipelines just won't allow you to do it. So it really
mm.
kind of safeguards us from that. But I am sure this mistake will happen again, and then we'll capture it and we can learn from it and we can kind of iterate on it as we go.
Yep, and that's what my next question is. From your experience, what makes an engineering team truly high performing beyond just technical skills?
Um, that's a really interesting question. I think the ability to think outside the box is a good one. I think the ability to want to try new things, but not to constantly chase the shiny thing is a really good skill. So, um, critically evaluate things, whether they're going to make a difference. I've worked in teams where we've always wanted to use the latest security tool or use the latest AI agent, for instance. Now, and that can hamper you, but also we need to be in a position where we need to keep pushing and trying new things. I think building an environment where it's safe to make mistakes um, is critical to empowering engineering teams to make changes. Um,
Hmm.
like for instance, a Synapse, if something breaks in production, we don't go and shout at you. We don't go and tell you off. It's no one's fault. It happened. It's a flaw in the process as to why
Hmm.
it happened. Like you know, we have a development environment, we have a testing environment, we have a production environment, and we have automated pipelines in between.
Hmm.
If a change gets to that environment and breaks something, it happened. We'll look at why it happened, learn from it, and improve on it kind of going forwards. Same as if we have a project that doesn't go smoothly, it's not anyone's fault. It didn't go smoothly. It just didn't go smoothly. So why didn't it go smoothly? Do we need to do more upfront planning? Do we need to do small incremental releases? Do we need to implement feature flagging? And how do we learn from that? And allowing the teams to make those mistakes and learn from it and suggest improvements and how they can improve it and own that process, I think is really important to building a really comfortable and high performing team.
And I just asked this question yesterday with another CTO, and he mentioned one thing which I really want to put out in front of you. So he mentions one thing that you really need system thinkers in your team, the people who think in the terms of systems, and they can show you the big picture instead of like taking just one component and just doing it, and then taking another component and just doing it. What do you think about it? Do you think it is true for Synapse as well?
I would agree, but I think the role of an engineer is changing now with the advent of AI. I think we're moving more from focusing on the little things to engineering complete systems.
Hmm.
And we're able to do that now at scale. I think definitely previously you want a mixture of a team. In my opinion, you want people who are really in the detail and really detail focused and will build really high quality code. And then you want people who are bigger picture and think, actually in the long term, we should go down this direction because of X, Y, and Z requirements. Um, Now with I see it more as AI is your detailed oriented programmer. AI, the AI plan should be your bigger picture thinking, and then you have time as well as an engineer to think, if I build it this way, I know that I need to do this in the future. Do I tell the plan how to do that, or tell the plan I've got this, and then tweak it and implement it? And the wonderful thing about AI now is we can change code really rapidly. Uh,
Hmm.
in a matter of hours. Well, we have a great example of at Synapse. We use captions for everything. We were very into AWS Transcribe. Lots of code around AWS Transcribe, but we had issues with latency at scale. So in the matter of 2 hours, we flicked everything over to Speechmatics. Um, and we were able to do that with the power of AI. So maybe bigger picture thinking would have helped us kind of say Transcribe's not going to work for us in the long run, but actually because we could see that this was going to be a problem, we were able to just flick it out with AI. So I'm not sure if that necessarily answers your question, but yeah, I think system designs are always important. It's having a balance in a team.
That's pretty like so nice of you to put like system design at a priority because I think so being a CTO, your one of the main priorities would be to keep an eye on the system design and things so that remains scalable. And the latency thing that you mentioned, it's obviously one way or the other way to solve the latency problem would lie in the system design in some way or the other way.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We've recently moved we've recently moved one of our products from a serverless architecture to Kubernetes, primarily for latency improvements. And yeah, we've moved everything over to gRPC again for latency improvements. And that those kind of architectural decisions are great for that. And thinking bigger term, we know that another reason we moved to Kubernetes is we have customers that want to run our software on-prem, and we have customers that want to run our
Hmm.
software in different countries. Kubernetes just is Docker. It's easy. We can just take it from one spot, move it to somewhere else. Whereas Lambda doesn't work in anything other than AWS. So um, yeah, those kind of big pictures that's my bread and butter. I think that's the one thing that I've really learned throughout my career is take time over the architecture, but also don't be afraid to change things. I've seen it, and I have conversations with colleagues where it's like, yeah, very much people have always gone, we are a Java house and we build Java, or we are a Go house and we build Go. Um, we don't need to be like that anymore. You don't need to be language specific. As science, we use Rust for part of our app. We use Go for part of our app. We have some Python for part of our app. We choose the right language for the right job, and we being polyglot is really easy now. And that then allows you to go, well, Rust is really good at low level fast things. So
Yeah.
that where are the problems where we need to have low level fast things? Go is really quick and easy to write APIs. So where are our
Hmm.
front end, where are our APIs? And you can choose at a system level,
Hmm.
and you can have a big picture, and you can just it's kind of like Lego in a weird way. You can kind of choose the
Yeah.
language and the hosting and the products to solve that specific problem. And at the end, everything it improves and is better. And you can have kind of consistent networking throughout the stack, like we do. We just use gRPC. Um, so they're all talking the same language, and they're all using the same contracts. Um, and you're just leveraging the power of each language for that specific bit that it needs to be done at. I would never use Python for encoding; it'd be too slow. But Rust is
Hmm.
amazing for video encoding. So yeah, it's it's a really interesting time that we live in that we can start doing this and being able to know that I don't need to go as a CTO, I don't need to go and hire a team of Rust engineers now. I need people
Hmm.
who understand Rust, but they don't need to be amazing at Rust because we have
Hmm.
tools like Claude
Yeah.
which can help us get the way there.
That sounds very amazing. So my last question would be looking ahead, how do you see the role of the CTO evolving as platforms, AI, and automation become more central to products?
Um, I think it's critical, but the role of the CTO has always been in my mind to represent the business requirements in a technical domain.
Hmm.
You ultimately, I am the business facing of the engineering team. I'm responsible for what we build, but I have to take you know OKR objectives from here and turn them into technical things that we can deliver. I don't think that's necessarily going to change too much, apart from we now are able to deliver more in our objectives. And I feel like the role of the CTO isn't then going to be around how can we orchestrate different products within our teams and build our teams to and empower our teams to use these products to be more productive as we kind
Hmm.
of go forward. So I think I think the core kind of responsibilities stay the same, but I think we're in a world now where we can prototype things faster. Um, I don't know if you've heard the term fail fast. Like previously, in a startup environment, other startups I worked in, you don't necessarily want to invest too much time in prototyping because you need to get features into customers' hands. Whereas now, we could prototype something pretty quickly in the product phase and then take that prototype, which would be like 80% of the way there, and then give it to the engineering teams. and then they have a good basis to work off. Using AI models for a larger analysis as well, which is great. So we can kind of
Mm,
give these models lots of not customer information, but like customer trends, information around from kind of our analytics engines on, and we can do high level and even low level kind of analytics on what are the trends here. And, if we give it understanding of our product roadmap and how can we move the dials on these analytics better. So if we want more people to convert on a different subscription, for instance, how can we do that? I feel like
mm,
we have the power now to really experiment with that a lot faster. Um, and push things to prod regularly and know that it's going to be fine. Um, and then also roll back regularly and change things as much as we want. So I feel like the role of the CTO has, um, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one over the next couple of years to see kind of how quickly things change, how quickly things experiment. I think also the role of the CTO is going to be fun because things are changing in the industry so quickly. Um,
mm.
so I have to stay abreast of all the new changes, the new models, what's best practice now. There's a piece on educating the rest of the team on the best way to get the most out of things like Claude. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun couple of years, I think.
Thank you, Alex, for answering all the questions in the first segment. Now we are moving to the next segment, and the rule here is, you will not take any time to think. You have to answer as soon as I stop asking questions. So are you ready?
Okay, sure, let's try it.
Okay. Startup or scale up, which is harder?
Scale up. Scale up is so much harder.
Serverless or Kubernetes?
I am a big fan of serverless. I've always been a big fan of serverless. Yeah, serverless all the way.
Speed or reliability, if you had to pick one?
Reliability, I'd say, because I think that reliability equals speed to the old racing analogy of slow is fast and fast is slow.
The most underrated DevOps practice.
Uh, Blameless postmortems, definitely. Building that safe environment where people can make mistakes and not have any repercussions for it.
One engineering habit every team should adopt.
Experimenting and trying things.
The biggest misconception about being a CTO.
That CTOs don't write code. I see this all the time, and I think a CTO should take on the role that the company needs. So if you're in a startup, you're definitely going to be writing code. If you're in an enterprise, you may be doing more strategy.
One tool you couldn't live without.
Warp, the terminal. I use it every day. It's fantastic. I couldn't live without it.
What excites you most about modern engineering right now?
It's going so quickly with agentic AI. And software engineering in general, it's changing so rapidly. And we're in a really exciting time to see what products people build with this new kind of capability. I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Thank you so much, Alex, for providing the technical insights of the Synapse about your career. I have learned quite a bit from your conversation. I hope the audience will learn a lot. Thank you again for providing your time. And we will meet next time, hopefully, in some other episode, talking about some other things about the tech. And hopefully, the tech would have changed by now, by then. So until then, keep finding tech. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Really, 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 really enjoyed it.